Welcome to the Mind versus Action journey, where every week I will share experiences, thoughts, and ideas on how you can go from thoughts in your mind to actually taking actions. Life is not formed by just what is in our mind, but by actually taking action on what is in our mind. It is not enough to simply hope, think, and wish. We must take action. There is a sweetness in surrendering right now because it's easy. No one would blame you, but the consequence of doing so is not one you will want to face later. We all have been there. We all hit this wall, sometimes even on a daily basis. We give up on pursuing what we want, or we give in to something we shouldn't simply because it is the easiest thing to do at the moment. What we fail to realize is that, yes, it might be easy at the moment, but is it easy once the consequences of settling start rolling in? The answer is always no. Yet we fall into this vicious cycle of repeating the same thing over and over to give up or give in because it is a convenient thing to do in the present moment, that is. So, what do I mean by giving up or giving in? Giving up. This one, I think it's easy, and it's one really easy to understand as well. As a society, I believe we are stuck in this rat race because of the fact that we are wired to give up easily the moment we face some type of resistance. We are told since we are little by our loved ones that it is okay to give up, that maybe it was not for us. They fail to teach us that every decision has a consequence. Giving up always has the greatest one of all. The thing is that if we stayed long enough fighting for what we want, we would get what we want, always. But as a society, we celebrate short gains, even though most of them come at the expense of the long-term gains. I grew up hearing from the naysayers to give up, that what I was doing was crazy, that my aspirations were out of reach, that I thought I was too good simply because I was focusing on what I wanted. For example, college for me was a long journey and took me about 6 years to finish. I was working full time and being a dad, husband full time. It was hard from the perspective of the amount of time that all parts of my life required. Many people would tell me that it was okay to stop school, that I was doing good already as is. Quitting school during this stage of my life would have definitely been the easiest route, and truthfully, no one would have looked down on me because I was doing good financially and because in their eyes, I had a reason to. I was a father, a husband, and a rising professional. No one person in my life at this point told me, hey, dude, you are stupid if you give up. It's hard, I know. It's only going to get harder, but it will be so worth it. Not one person said this to me, but myself. Quitting for me once I had started and made the decision to get my degree was never an option, not once. I was committed to it, and it was not for what the degree could bring me because I quite frankly did not need it for the area of business I had gone into. For me, it was a personal journey. I always wanted to go to college and to graduate from the college that I did ever since I was a child. And so I had to do it. I had to do it for me. The consequences of never giving up on my dreams was that I ultimately got what I wanted. And even though the degree did not help me directly, the journey of getting it did. The grit and the resistance it taught me has been invaluable. The new ways of thinking that it sparked in me have made a drastic positive impact on my life and those I love. I can also tell my kids one day, or anyone really, that wants to pursue college, that it is possible, that I did it and so can they, if they are willing to put in the work, and that if done for the right reasons, it is totally worth it. The second part of surrendering is that of which we do when we decide to go for the instant gratification, the instant pleasure of doing something that we know immediately is wrong. But the pleasure of doing it anyway is just that big that we do it anyway. We surrender to our desires. We often do things daily that we know are not good for us. We do them knowing the actual consequences, yet we do them anyway. This is such a bizarre human tendency that it truly boggles my mind on why we do what we do, knowing what the consequences will be. We go to sleep late because we decided to waste our time on social media, or we decided to watch that extra episode knowing that we had to wake up early the next day and knowing that we would be tired and irritated, yet we do it anyway. Why? Because that instant pleasure that we get from watching that extra episode at the moment, it is present, it's there. While the next day is the future, and there is no pleasure in the future until it becomes the present. But that is the insane part. We know that the future will become the present, and that because of our choices in our current present, our future present pays the consequences. But we know this because we repeat this behavior daily. We repeat it by not spending time with our loved ones when we know we should. We repeat it when we when we are overeating or not eating the right things. We repeat it by surrounding ourselves with the wrong people that we know are not good for our lives. We repeat this by deciding to sleep an extra hour when we knew it would set us back during the day. We repeat this by continuing with our negative thought pattern when we know they are toxic. We do this when we surrender to our current present, to our immediate desires of pleasure. The question now becomes, how do you learn to not surrender so easily? And for me, the answer is really simple: by focusing on what I truly want with an intensity that I question my every move. Does this action help or hurt in the pursuit of what I want? Is my constant question. Maybe because it is that simple is the reason why most don't do this, because it's too simple for it to work, but it does. It has for me my entire life. The truth is that until you learn to not give in to your immediate desires or to not give up when the going gets hard, you will never get what you truly want. This is the reason why there are more people that aren't happy versus people that are happy, like the real happy folks, not the fabricated ones. The solution, though, is really simple. Focus on your real it, your reasons why you are doing what you are doing, not your immediate desires, and the rest will always follow. It always does. Add emotions and intensity to your reasons. Write them down if you have to, but whatever you do, be very clear on your why. Life happens when we do, and it goes from 0 to 60 real quick. So make the decision today to not surrender on your real life desires and to not give in to instant gratification. You can, you must. Please subscribe to my blog, podcast, or YouTube channel to get notifications when my weekly entry is posted. I promise I will never disappoint. Thank you. Until next time, I challenge you to own your thoughts, actions, process, results, and ultimately your life story. Most importantly, I challenge you to go from thoughts in your mind to taking actual actions on those thoughts, as nothing happens until actions are taken.